Now, don't get too excited. An actual full analysis of Fallout 4, which I do want to do, is going to take forever, and it's still a ways off. But I realize that I can actually review the DLC packs first. Far Harbor gives you like a dirty fishing village, an entire new island to explore, and it's really foggy, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. They're actually in the middle of like a political civil war thing. And that's my favorite aspect about the DLC. I thought that was really cool. A lot of people have been saying that Nuka World is the one that's, this is just more Fallout 4. This is just, find an area, shoot everybody, and collect all the stuff and then return. Far Harbor is very RPG. There's a lot of decision making, a lot of talking in Far Harbor, and that was a nice change up from the base of Fallout 4. I mean, it's Fallout 4, and this game still looks ugly, especially with the fog. Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but if you look up into like the sun or something, you get a horrible pixel effect around your gun sight. So I mean, Fallout 4 already had terrible frame issues. Now you add a foggy haze effect everywhere. It just gets worse. The reason you're on Far Harbor is you're looking for a girl. You're trying to find their daughter.
I'm glad you're here. We got a new case while you and Nick were out. Ready to put on the detective hat?
The only thing I'm ready for is danger and awesome. Pew, pew, pew.
I'm afraid hard-earned caps is all we've got to offer, honey.
And the first thing I have to say is bring Nick Valentine. I don't know how you can do this without bringing Nick Valentine with you, because he is a pretty essential part of the story. So I showed up to their house first without Nick Valentine, and they were just like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm with the Valentine Detective Agency. Here's my card. Whereas if you show up with Nick, it's like, oh, Nick Valentine, thank God you're here, we need your help. So maybe it'd be fun to go without Nick just to see how it's different after, like, for like a second playthrough or whatever.
Keep your secrets for now.
Thank you. Now, was there anything else I can do for you?
I'm part of a group that helps synths.
Really? I don't understand why a group dedicated to helping synths would convince them through fear that their only option is... Yes, they volunteer. I know how frightening it is, the risk of capture. But sacrificing what you are, avoiding the truth...
Ideals aren't gonna protect escaped synths. We do what we have to.
There's a few new guns in Far Harbor, but the two most significant ones are the lever action rifle and the harpoon gun. Lever action rifle is awesome. I think it's the highest caliber ammunition, bar 50, and it does the most damage. So it's 45-70, I think it said. It really fits with that kind of western feel of Fallout 4. And as you upgrade the gun, the visible improvements are great. The stock changes to have like shells on it, the barrel extends, It holds 5 rounds. The only problem is that if you fire 1 round and then try to reload to put that round back in, the game will then animate 5 rounds going back in. It takes just as long to reload as if you were completely empty. So that's still, even about a year after the pack released, super broken and needs to be patched. The harpoon gun itself, the harpoon gun looks cool, but it fires 1 shot, takes forever to reload, and doesn't do enough damage for it to matter. And you can barely make any upgrade mods to it. Like, that thing needs a speed loader clip in the side to be patink, 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 patink. Because it's more of a shotgun than it is like a heavy weapon. Especially, I found one that has the legendary upgrade that makes everything on fire. So I've got like the fletching upgrade, so it shoots a spray, and they're all incendiary, so it's like a little fire shotgun. And it's cool, but it's not worth the DPS output that it takes to reload it after 1 shot. So that thing desperately needs a speed loader. So as you go through the main story of Far Harbor, now unbeknownst to me, but the order in which you do the quests absolutely matter. So be super careful and have a wiki nearby, because if you do something before you do something else, you'll ruin everything. Especially because it makes you eventually pick sides between Far Harbor, Acadia, and the Nucleus. Now the biggest issue I noticed with that is the Far Harbor people like rallied together. They're like, we're gonna go kill the synths. Let's go to Acadia right now to kill all the synths. And I'm like, oh shit. So, before I met them there and talked to them, I teleported to Acadia and went and talked to Kasumi. And despite the fact that people are coming there right now to kill him, she's like, oh, I need to think this over. And I'm like, lady, we need to go now.
Come talk to me when this is all over. There's a lot I have to think about. Come talk to me when this is all over. There's a lot I have to think about.
So if you don't talk to her like at the right times enough times before that, it's impossible to save her. Even though I tried, I couldn't do it. Now, while overall I definitely enjoyed the focus on RPG and, you know, the dialogue choices and making and, you know, finding information and being a detective and scoping stuff out, there were times where Fallout 4 shitty dialogue circle definitely made me pick something I didn't want to say. And there was another time where I effectively persuaded somebody and nothing happened. So back at the village, that one guy's like, we need to go kill the synths, let's go get them. And I'm like, guys, you shouldn't do this. Unfortunately, I have a really high persuasion stat. I'm a very charismatic guy. And it gives me the little cha-ching, and I get experience like persuasion successful. And the guy was like, oh, well, maybe you're right, but let's do it anyway. And I'm like, what the hell was that? Now, it would be okay if they wanted to go for this, like, you know, these people are doomed to destroy each other. Just grab Kasumi and get out. Just let them kill each other. But at least let me make that effort and at least prove to me that the game gave me that thought and that the game's actually going for that, rather than you just ignored my dialogue choice, because that's what it seemed like. Something super stupid, too, is there's another part where you got to go through, I can't remember the guy's name, but, like, you know, Nick Valentine's brother, you have to go through his memories to find out what he's lying about, what he's not lying about. That was another aspect that I really liked. It's like, do I believe this guy? Do I trust this guy? But when you're going through his memories, it gives you this super shitty, out of nowhere, like, Portal Minecraft, like, mini game where you gotta, like, connect the blocks, and it's terrible. It's garbage. Luckily, you don't have to beat all 5 of them to unlock the memories, because they're stupid. On the whole, I did really like the actual story itself, and by the end, you know, since I couldn't save Kasumi, I felt really bad, and I went back to go tell her parents of the bad news. I, like, took off my hat, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I couldn't save your daughter. That'll be $2,000.
Mr. Nakano, bad news. Kasumi, she didn't make it.
I hired you to find her, to bring her back safely. What happened? What did they do to my little girl?
Do you really want to know, Kenji?
God, our Kasumi, our little girl. It's everything I was afraid of.
I'm sorry, Kenji. I wish we could tell you different.
She died over all this nonsense about being a synth. Tell me it wasn't true.
You get a whole new island to explore, and they introduce a lot of different enemies, but the only new companion you really get is Longfellow, and he's got a cool coat, but his unibrow is unforgivable. It's like, no. You know, when you are exploring the island, you find lots of little side quests and different, you know, like, places to clear out and stuff, because, you know, it's Fallout 4. Wandering around in the world, I found a hotel that was all robots. Like, the people staying there were robots, and it was run by robots, and they had, like, a little play that they were doing, and then one of them died, and the other was like, who could have done this thing? So they're all running around trying to figure out who killed him. It was hilarious and adorable, and it was amazing, and really made the entire DLC worth it for just that one quest. So you're interviewing all the little robots, and then there's like a crazy Spaniard guy who's like, this is a piece of art, and he's taking me around his art gallery. It was fantastic. Well, like I said, I think the main story is good. There's definitely issues that are caused by the underlying flaws of Fallout 4's RPG dialogue system, but it was refreshing to see the focus on that more than just, you know, shooting everybody. No scores, because it's a DLC pack. But there's your little boom. We've broken the Fallout 4 barriers. So I'm going to cover Nuka World next. And then I'm going to put up a bug reel. And then I'm going to actually review Fallout 4. You know, in another year or two.
Come on out, stranger. This doesn't have to get messy. What were you doing up there in my camp?
Nice hat.
Thanks. I skinned it myself. Look. I don't really want any trouble. I broke off from the group I came here with a long time ago. I just started seeing things differently when we came to the island, and I couldn't stand how the other super mutants act to humans.